The crystalline hall of the Galactic Tribunal stretched across 3 kilometers of polished obsidian, its vaulted ceiling disappearing into shadows that held the accumulated wisdom of 10,000 civilizations. Ambassador Elena Vasquez stood, alone at the defendant's podium, her small human form dwarfed by the towering representatives of 47 alien species who served as judges in humanity's trial. High Arbiter Zexthul, a being of living energy contained within a geometric lattice, pulsed with authoritative light as it addressed the assembly. The species designated as human stands accused of violations against the Galactic Preservation Codes. They have weaponized their stellar system's resources, militarized their planetary satellites, and demonstrated unprecedented aggression toward any potential extraterrestrial contact. Elena's jaw tightened. 3 months ago, humanity had finally detected the Galactic Confederation's monitoring stations hidden throughout the solar system. The revelation that Earth had been under surveillance for centuries while being denied contact had sparked outrage across every nation. Within weeks, humanity had united in a way never before seen in their turbulent history. The evidence is overwhelming, continued Zexthul, gesturing to holographic displays showing Earth's orbital defense platforms, the hastily constructed lunar military bases, and the retrofitted spacecraft now patrolling the asteroid belt. This species has transformed their entire system into a fortress within mere solar rotations of discovering our presence. Such paranoid militarization violates 17 preservation codes and demonstrates their fundamental incompatibility with galactic society. The Valdorian representative, resembling a cross between a mantis and a tree, clicked its mandibles in agreement. The humans' reaction to peaceful surveillance proves their violent nature. They could not even maintain peace among their own kind for more than brief intervals throughout their recorded history. Elena stepped forward, her voice carrying clearly through the vast chamber, thanks to the universal translation matrix. Honored arbiters, you speak of preservation codes while admitting you've been watching us in secret for centuries. You've denied us the opportunity to grow, to learn, to prove ourselves as anything other than the primitive species you've decided we are. You've had adequate time to evolve beyond your aggressive tendencies. The crystalline collective's hive mind representative resonated through harmonic frequencies. Instead, you've demonstrated that first contact triggers not wonder or diplomacy, but immediate militarization. Because you've given us no reason to trust you, Elena shot back, her diplomatic training warring with raw human emotion. You've studied us like specimens, cataloged our weaknesses, and now sit in judgment as if you're gods deciding our fate. What did you expect? High Arbiter Zexthul's energy patterns shifted to a more ominous configuration. The tribunal has reached its decision. Humanity's aggressive response to galactic contact, combined with their historical pattern of violence and their rapid militarization of their stellar system, renders them a clear threat to galactic stability. The sentence is containment and gradual population reduction to sustainable levels that pose no threat to the greater galaxy. The words hit Elena like a physical blow, genocide disguised as justice. She looked around the chamber, seeing the same cold calculation in every alien face, or what passed for faces among beings of pure energy, crystalline matrices, and exotic matter configurations. You want to know about human aggression? Elena's voice dropped to a whisper that somehow carried to every corner of the vast hall. You're about to learn the difference between aggression and desperation. She activated the quantum communicator hidden in her diplomatic badge, technology humanity had reverse-engineered from the Confederation's own monitoring equipment. Terra Command, this is Vasquez. Execute Lazarus Protocol. All humanity, repeat, all humanity. High Arbiter Zexthul pulsed with alarm. What have you done? Elena smiled, and for the first time, the assembled judges saw something in human expression that chilled their alien souls. You've been watching us for centuries, but you never really understood us. You saw our wars, our conflicts, our seemingly endless capacity for violence against each other, but you missed the most important thing about humanity. Across the galaxy, quantum-entangled communicators hidden in every human settlement, from the Martian colonies to the research stations beyond Pluto, received Elena's signal simultaneously. In response, humanity activated systems they'd been building in secret since discovering they weren't alone. Not weapons of war, but something far more dangerous to a complacent galactic civilization. You see, we don't just fight each other. Elena continued as warning alarms began sounding throughout the tribunal station. We also have an unparalleled ability to unite when faced with an external threat. And while you've been cataloging our weapons and our aggression, you completely overlooked our greatest talent. The first reports came from Confederation monitoring stations throughout human space. Every single human settlement had vanished. Not destroyed, vanished. Quantum displacement technology that shouldn't have been possible for a species barely capable of interstellar travel had been deployed simultaneously across their entire civilization. Impossible, breathed the Valdorian judge. They lack the technological sophistication for coordinated quantum displacement. Elena's smile widened. You're right. We didn't have the sophistication. So we did what humans always do when faced with impossible odds. We cheated. We studied your monitoring equipment, reverse-engineered your quantum communications, and spent 3 months building a network you never detected because you were looking for weapons, not solutions. More alarms sounded as reports flooded in from across the galaxy. Human settlements were reappearing in systems thought uninhabitable, in the void between galaxies, in dimensions that required exotic physics to access. Humanity had dispersed itself across space and time in a pattern that would take the Confederation millennia to track down. You wanted to judge us based on our capacity for violence, Elena said, backing toward the chamber's emergency exit as tribunal security forces converged on her position. But you never considered what we'd do with our capacity for survival. Every human child learns the story of the Hydra, cut off one head and 2 more take its place. The first human ships began materializing around the tribunal station, not the crude vessels the Confederation had observed, but sleek craft that bent space-time around them like toys. Humanity had been busy during their 3 months of preparation. The tribunal's verdict was genocide, Elena called out as she reached the transport pod bay. So congratulations, Arbiters. You've just turned Earth's first contact into its first interstellar war. And unlike every other species you've encountered, we've been preparing for this fight our entire history. As Elena's escape pod launched toward the waiting human fleet, High Arbiter Zexthal realized the terrible truth. They hadn't been judging humanity's fitness for galactic society. They'd been giving humanity a reason to tear that society apart and rebuild it in their own image. The invasion Earth's children would wage wouldn't be one of conquest, but of survival. And as every species in the galaxy would soon learn, nothing in the universe was more dangerous than a human with nothing left to lose.